want to get into some scripture because on page 94, you quoted a brother by the name of Jeffrey J. Harrison, and it was an interesting passage in the book. He said, according to the rabbis, there is one chapter in the Bible that is so dangerous, it is forbidden to be taught to groups of disciples. It could be taught to no more than one student, and only if he is a mature student, this chapter can be taught. It is forbidden to be read in the regular synagogue service. And he said it actually led some of Israel's most famous rabbis to engage in strange mystical practices that killed one of them, made another one crazy, and led another one to heresy. For hundreds of years, even the name of this chapter caused knowledgeable Jews to shudder. What chapter is this? They call it the Merkabah, or as we would call it, Ezekiel, chapter 1. Why is there so much confusion? Why is this chapter so dangerous? What is it about Ezekiel that a lot of our religious leaders, the rabbis, the Jews, they are afraid to discuss that chapter? Why is that?
Man, brother, first of all, thank you for bringing and lifting that page and that reference, that citation from the book, because that you just read speaks to how important the reality of this mother wheel is to people who actually know and study the prophecies. Now, he was talking about it from a Jewish perspective. For centuries, the Jewish rabbis, the learned Jewish rabbis who study the prophecies, who study the Hebrew prophecies for centuries, they clearly anticipate the coming of God in human form, and the clear indicator of this messianic age, as they call it. There are certain indicators that give definitive proof of these prophecies being fulfilled in terms of the coming of God. One, it is signaled by the presence of this figure known as Elijah. Now be mindful, Jews await this figure known as Elijah during their Passover Seder tradition. Every year they have a meal and a glass on the table and leave the door ajar because they anticipate the presence and coming of this figure known as Elijah, who is directly associated with God's heavenly chariot. You see, who was associated with being taken away and traveling on God's whirlwind, fiery chariot. So the presence of this Elijah is what Jews have anticipated for centuries. But this presence is also marked definitively by what they call Merkabah. That term Merkabah is not in the scriptures per se, but it is what the rabbis use to call or refer to Ezekiel's wheel. And when you look at that term Merkabah, it is from a Semitic root, rakab, which means a wheel. That's what you get the term chariot from in Hebrew, which refers to a wheel. But Merkabah is also a feminine type of wheel with that suffix at the end. It denotes femininity, as in a mother. So at the root of this Merkabah mysticism is the expectation of God's appearance through a feminine mother wheel, which is accompanied by a figure known as Elijah. So the learned rabbis have long anticipated these prophecies, and it is so exclusive and dangerous that all rabbis are not even allowed to study it. This is something that is super exclusive and has been held in such an exclusive circle among learned Jewish rabbis because they've always anticipated the coming of God and his warship called Merkabah with the presence of a figure known as Elijah. The reason why white Jews are so antithetical to the Nation of Islam is not because they are ignorant. It is because they know that what Elijah Muhammad, what Louis Farrakhan represent is the clear, definitive fulfillment of what their rabbis have been studying and anticipating for centuries. And for that reason, it is a study that is highly exclusive and considered dangerous among Jewish scholars.
Wow. Wow. Okay, thank you. Thank you for breaking that
Heavy
down.
stuff, man. It's heavy stuff.
That is. So the Jews, they know, but like I say, this is knowledge that's kept away from many of the students that actually study this.
That's right. And you know what? The Holy Quran talks about that. The Holy Quran speaks of a certain segment of Jews who have been given the prophecies. It says that they have been given the book, and because they have been given the book or the prophecies, they would recognize this messenger Messiah just as they recognize their own sons. They would, because they are so keen on the messianic descriptors that they are so familiar with them that when that one arises, they would be among the first to pinpoint who he is. However, the Holy Quran also lets us know that those segment of Jews, even though they would clearly recognize this messenger Messiah, they would still disbelieve. They would still oppose him. So when you read about Jesus in the Bible and in the Holy Quran and his controversy with a certain segment of Jewish leaders, it is because they know this figure represents the end of their world of white supremacy. They are the leaders. They are the secretive head of that world. So the presence of this messianic one, see, that's what Brother Farrakhan represents. You know, clearly, you don't even have another present leader talking about their direct connection to this wheel that's up there. See, Minister Farrakhan is clearly distinguished, and they know it. Unfortunately, our people don't know it. And the masses of the people, 85%, you know, the masses of the people, black or white, have no clue whatsoever, you know. And that's why this topic has been kept above top secret. Those who know, they know the danger of it. They know the reality of it. But they, like devils, even though they know the prophecies, they're not going to try to submit to the way of God. They're going to try to fight God foolishly. Just like Pharaoh, just like Herod in the scriptures. These are prophecies and pictures that you see in the scriptures for a reason. It's letting you know the mindset of those satanic rulers and how they would respond to the clear presence of God and how they would respond to the people of God by keeping them ignorant to the presence of God. That's the dilemma we're in today, brother.
Got you. Yes, sir. Well, this is